One woman crossed the sea, and in just a few months, England's most powerful noble would die, a king would lose everything, and a 14-year-old boy would inherit a kingdom falling apart. This is the true story of how England destroyed its own king. Bannockburn was over. Scotland had finally won its freedom. But south of the border, another kingdom was beginning to fall. King Edward II returned to Westminster, not as a conqueror, but as a defeated king. The crown still rested upon his head, but respect for the man beneath it had disappeared. The defeat at Bannockburn had shaken England to its core. The treasury was nearly empty. Taxes increased. Merchants complained. Barons blamed the king. The kingdom had survived Scotland. It was beginning to destroy itself. Edward trusted fewer and fewer people. One man had become closer to the king than anyone else: Hugh Despenser. His influence grew with every passing month. Every favor he received created another enemy. Even Queen Isabella found herself pushed aside. England's queen had become a stranger in her own court. Then Edward sent her across the sea, to France. He believed she would return. He was wrong, because in France, she found an ally, Roger Mortimer. Together, they saw England's weakness. The kingdom was divided. The king stood alone, and didn't even know it. The invasion of England had already begun. France welcomed the forgotten queen. But Isabella had not crossed the sea for safety. She had crossed it for revenge. Roger Mortimer shared her hatred for Edward II. Both had lost everything because of Hugh Despenser. Now, they would take everything back. Letters quietly crossed the English Channel. England's unhappy nobles began answering the Queen's call. One by one, they chose betrayal over loyalty. Edward never saw the conspiracy growing. Support for the Queen spread across England. By the summer of 1326, everything was ready. Their army was small, but they carried something far more powerful than numbers: hope. September 1326. The invasion had begun. France, English Channel, Suffolk, England. Isabella landed on English soil. Edward expected England to defend him. Instead, England welcomed the invaders. The king's allies abandoned him almost overnight. Town after town opened its gates. The Queen marched without meeting serious resistance. News reached Westminster like thunder. Edward finally understood the danger. This was no rebellion. This was a war for his crown. The king fled London before the Queen could reach him. England was hunting its own king. Edward fled into the darkness till dawn. The King of England had become a fugitive. Behind him, the kingdom was collapsing. The Queen's army grew larger every day. One castle after another surrendered. Edward had nowhere left to hide. But one man refused to surrender. Hugh Despenser still believed the king could survive. He was wrong. The Queen's forces surrounded his stronghold. Escape became impossible. Despenser was captured alive. The people showed no mercy. For years, they had blamed him for England's suffering. Now, judgment had come. His execution shocked the kingdom. The king's most powerful supporter was gone. Edward was now completely alone. There would be no rescue. There would be no second army. The hunt continued. Every road was watched. Every escape closed. The king was running out of time. Then, the chase came to an end. England's king surrendered. Without a battle. Without a kingdom. The crown had lost its king. The fate of England would now be decided by a queen. The King of England was now a prisoner. For the first time in his life, Edward had no power outside the prison. England was choosing its future. The nobles no longer debated whether Edward should rule. They debated who should replace him. Queen Isabella already had an answer: her son, the 14-year-old heir to England's throne. The imprisoned king was given a choice: give up the crown, or risk civil war. Edward had already lost everything. His friends were gone. His army was gone. His kingdom had abandoned him. With nothing left to fight for, he surrendered the crown. After nearly 20 years, Edward II was no longer King of England. On the 25th of January, 1327. England needed a new ruler. The young prince was crowned. He became King Edward III. The people celebrated. England finally had a new king. But the kingdom was not truly his. The crown rested on Edward's head, while power rested in other hands. The boy watched. He listened. And he never forgot who had stolen his father's throne. 2 years passed. England expected peace after the Civil War. Instead, a new hunger for power began to grow. Mortimer rewarded himself with land. He claimed castles across England. His wealth grew beyond imagination. His influence became greater than any noble in England. Some even whispered, "Have we simply replaced Hugh Despenser?" The kingdom had removed one favorite, only to watch another rise in his place. The young king watched everything. He said very little, but he never stopped learning. He quietly surrounded himself with loyal young knights, men who served the crown, not Mortimer. Mortimer noticed nothing. Power had made him careless. Edward waited. He watched. He planned. Every move was calculated. No one suspected the young king. He believed England belonged to him. He was wrong. The king had made his decision. There would only be one ruler in England, and the night was approaching. Roger Mortimer had no idea that before sunrise, everything would change. Midnight covered Nottingham Castle. Most of its guards believed England was finally at peace. They were wrong. A hidden passage beneath the castle quietly opened. King Edward III stepped into the darkness. Behind him came only a handful of loyal knights. No banners. No army. Only a king, reclaiming his kingdom. The raid had begun. The fighting lasted only moments. Edward's men pushed deeper into the castle. Roger Mortimer awoke to chaos. He reached for his sword, but the king was already standing before him. Mortimer realized the game was over. He surrendered without escape. The most powerful man in England had fallen in a single night. Queen Isabella rushed to stop her son. She begged Edward for mercy. Edward spared his mother's life, but Roger Mortimer would face justice. Years of hidden rule ended before sunrise. England no longer had a shadow ruler. For the first time, the crown truly belonged to its king. The boy had become a ruler, and soon, he would set his sights on an even greater prize. France. Next episode. The 100 Years' War begins.